So Netflix are cracking down on their password sharing. I want to discuss that in this video, and also what are the implications going forward? Could be a bit of a shake up to come. Let's discuss. So yeah, Netflix are cracking down on the sharing of passwords. I'd actually created a video on this topic about 5 days ago. I sat on it. I didn't release it. I don't know why, but I'm glad I did because this has actually got a little bit more of a far-reaching impact possible in the future. That's what I think. So I'm gonna discuss what I think may happen in the future, and it might be a big shake-up for things to come. I certainly hope not. But in the meantime, it is trending on Twitter. If I can put that on screen right now, if you go into Netflix, in fact, yesterday it really was hard trending on Twitter. But if you go into Netflix password sharing, you'll see an awful lot of people are discussing it. And all it really is, in my view, I've read into it, is that it's like Google's two-factor authentication. So what might happen is when you log on to Netflix, it may ask, are you the account holder? And if you are, prove it by answering this email. So if that's you, that's no problem. You just go into your email. If it's a family member, you may have to go on the phone and ask them, can you approve me? I've signed into Netflix. That, what I think, is what is happening and how they're cracking down on the Netflix sharing thing. Why they're doing it now? Well, I think it's just because in the past, Netflix wasn't very big, and they were keen on people trying out their service, and maybe they weren't wanting to pay $10 a month or £10 a month, whatever it is now, to try it out. Maybe they would like to try it out and use someone else's password. So they would turn a blind eye to that because it then encourage them to possibly, I mean, the people who have shared the password to then maybe, well, I like Netflix. I can't do without Netflix. I will just buy my own account, so I don't have any problems with it. I think that is what they initially were thinking, so they kind of turned a blind eye to it. Now it's got a lot bigger. There's a lot more competition now, which is maybe going to have further implications on this because of the competition. Is and now they're thinking, well, no, we're also producing our own content. It's costing us a lot more to run Netflix. So possibly this is why they're wanting a bigger share of the pie. But let's be clear, they're not actually banning anybody from sharing a password. They're not doing any geo tagging or anything like that. So they're the end of the day, a lot of people, me included, use Netflix on our phones, mobile anyway. So it's not like they can say your IP address, it can only be, you know, accessed from a certain IP address. So unless they do something along those lines, there is nothing really to worry about. Going forward, this could maybe creep into other streaming services. Because there are so many of them. For example, I take Disney Plus. I would never actually pay for that myself, but I actually have got a password. I share a password with a member of my family, and I actually let them use my Netflix in return. So that way, it makes it a lot more affordable and a lot more, attractive to me because I wouldn't necessarily get Disney Plus straight off. But Netflix, yeah, I mean, Netflix, let's face it, anybody who uses Netflix knows how good it is. But the fact that there's more and more of these subscription services popping up, and especially with Justice League getting released, for example, in the States, I believe it's HBO, which is a subscription service as well. Things like that might occur more and more in the future so that you then have to access that streaming service to watch that film. To be honest with you, not so much for me, but when it comes to films, I still use my old tried and tested method, free method of watching films, which are still going strong, and I would still recommend it to anybody. The reason why I use Netflix or Disney Plus or anything like that is the sheer convenience of it. You can just drop in or dip in and dip out. I find that far more Appealing. I just realized I've just put myself on the small screen there. I'm going to put myself back on the big screen, looking at that Netflix thing the whole time. Sorry about that. But I find that a lot more appealing, the fact you can dip in, dip out. You see where you are on all the episodes, where you are on TV shows, and you can then just go, oh, I forgot about that. I'll just watch the rest of that episode or watch the rest of that series or binge, which you can do in these other services that I was talking about, the kind of free ones. But they aren't as convenient. And for the sake of £10 a month or whatever, especially if you can share the password with somebody else, half the cost, it really is for that amount of money and the convenience. It ticks the boxes for me. There you go. That's my take on. What is your take on it? Do you share your password? Is this going to affect you? How do you think the future will be in a year, 2 years' time? Do you think we'll have some sort of geo locking? Do you think they'll know if you are not the primary user of your streaming service? Be interesting to find out your point of view, where it's going. It's only going to get bigger, and the bigger these companies are, and the more of them are, the more competitive they are, which can bring down prices, but it also can make them more protective of their services and crack down more. Who knows? Anyway, let me know your thoughts, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. Oh, need to get ready for the thumbnail shot now. Something like that. Something like that.